Hey everybody, it's Charlie from Daily Motor, and despite Volkswagen killing off the Passat, the CC, and the Golf, we still have the entry-level compact sedan Jetta available to us here in the United States. And for 2025, it sees a modest refresh with some new styling, a few new colors including this Monterey Blue Pearl, and some tweaks to the interior. On top of that, we're also losing out on the optional manual transmission. You can only get that with the GLI now. They're also axing the 9-speaker Beats audio sound system for any Jettas made after January 1st of 2025. And a little bit of a modest price increase, but really not too bad. So, why should you buy the Jetta here in 2025 as opposed to all those competitors like the Civic and the Corolla and the K4 and the Elantra and the Nissan Sentra? Well, I've driven just about all of those vehicles over the last year or so, and I do still think there is a proper buyer for the Jetta. So without any further ado, let's jump right in. My first con after spending a week with this car is the fact that the manual transmission is gone. Now, I know that the manual take rate is really low, especially for the non-performance car. And I know that just about all of the competitors have gotten rid of the manual transmission option for their non-performance versions of the compact sedans. I think the Mazda 3 might be the only one. I can't remember if you can still get a Corolla manual. I'll have to double check and put it down here below. However, it was just nice, especially Volkswagens kind of have this a little bit more car enthusiast edge to them as opposed to maybe something like a Kia or a Toyota. So for me, it was kind of cool to be able to get into the sport with the manual and have such a pure driving experience. Not only that, we saw better fuel economy with the manual transmission car as opposed to this 8-speed automatic as well. No, it was minor. It was pretty much negligible, but still, it was cool to have a manual, and now that is gone. My next con comes from the interior, and that is mostly minor because I actually do quite like the interior of the Jetta, but if we bring the car on here, it's the 8-inch touchscreen. Now, all Jettas for 2025 do get this 8-inch touchscreen with wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto support. Okay, goodness, calm down. However, it's a basic infotainment system, and it's fine enough, especially in the more basic cars, the S and the Sport and the SE. But getting up into an SEL here with heated and ventilated seats and heated steering wheel and active lane keeping, I would like a more advanced infotainment system that's larger. The size to me is fine. At least it's within decent reach of the driver and I guess the passenger as well. And I kind of like how it's canted a bit toward the driver. But compared to cars like the new Kia K4 that actually has an AI assistant built in that actually impressed me as a tech sort of enthusiast, this system leaves me wanting. Next, let's fire up the 1.5 liter here and get driving for my next con, and that is the Jetta's not that engaging to drive compared to cars like the Civic and the Mazda 3, especially the Civic with such a great chassis and peppy little motors and decent enough transmissions. The Jetta with its little 1.5 liter turbocharged engine, 8-speed automatic, it's just fine. There's not much engaging to it, and for certain buyers, that's totally fine. They're going to get in here, they're going to appreciate the refinement, the quietness of this engine. It's got nice low-end torque, gets out of its own way, and it's super fuel efficient and simple. I get that. But if you're somebody who's buying a lighter weight, smaller vehicle in order for that driving engagement and kind of that fun factor that these vehicles often offer, you're not going to get that out of the Jetta, and that's a little bit of a disappointment. It's not bad. I'd say it's better than the Corolla from an engagement standpoint, but it's certainly not up to something like that right there in front of us. Next, the sound systems offered here in the Jetta. This one is rocking the 9-speaker Beats audio sound system that's found in the SEL and the GLI. However, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, this system is no longer available for newer Jettas. So you can get it in an early build Jetta SEL or GLI for 2025, but after that it is gone. They haven't announced if they're going to give some other sort of upgraded sound system option for 2026, maybe something branded. However, the best you're going to get is a 6-speaker that's in the SE model right now. And when we had a Jetta Sport with the 4-speaker, it came in as the worst sound system we've ever tested here at Daily Motor ATM sound. And then testing this one, despite it being in the top level trims and having 9 speakers, including a subwoofer, still really wasn't impressed with it. It's very average, despite being an upgraded sound system. And again, with other competitors like Bose in the Civic and the new Kia K4's Harman Kardon, and even the Bose in the Elantra, not too bad. This is near the bottom, probably down there with the Sentra, or so maybe even slightly lower than the Sentra in terms of audio quality across the map. My next con is the pricing of the SEL model. Now initially, when I first got into this SEL Jetta, I thought, oh, okay, this is pretty cool. For just $30,000, I'm getting ventilated seats and active lane keeping and a good amount of safety technology and upgraded sound system. That's pretty cool. But you can get, maybe not the ventilated seats. The ventilated seats you can pretty much only get in the Kia K4. But you get it for a similar price. And a lot of those other features you get for similar prices in other compact sedans. And to me, the Jetta value play is not in the upgraded model. If you want a compact sedan that feels borderline luxurious, you gotta go get a Mazda 3. And if you want a compact sedan that feels like it's really fun to drive, you gotta go out and get a Civic. So to me, spending extra to get, okay, yes, ventilated seats, nice, but it doesn't seem worth spending the $30,000 to me on the SEL trim. However, that does lead me right into our first pro, and that is the price of the S model. The base Jetta comes in around $23,000 after destination. Maybe it's even $22,000. I'll put the price down here below. And to me, that actually represents a great value. You still get a lot of safety features. You still get a lot of interior features. You get a nice to be in interior aside from the garbage sound system. That, to me, is a really good value. You're getting great fuel economy, you're getting a nice car to drive, and you're spending a lot less money than both the upgraded Jettas and a lot of its competition. My next pro coming out here on the highway is the Jetta's IQ driving assist active lane keeping functionality. We did the highway fuel economy test on this and it worked nicely. Doesn't beep at you obnoxiously, keeps the car nicely in the lane. Let's see if we can engage it right here. Get up to about, let's say 65 miles per hour, set. And even in this fairly beat up construction-y sort of area, we are getting, no, okay, it has not kicked in yet. We're gonna get it to IQ drive, oh there we go, I had to turn it on, sorry, IQ drive assist selected. Now look at that, it's steering for me, right through the lane, very confident, keeps the car centered really nicely. I'm impressed with it, especially at this price point. Next, as I mentioned, the highway fuel economy test, the Volkswagen Jetta is the most fuel-efficient vehicle we've tested here at Daily Motor on our highway fuel economy test. That means steady state cruising 70 miles per hour on the highway. And that's not a fluke because we've tested 3 Volkswagen Jettas at this point, one of which being the 6-speed manual, but the other 2 being the automatic. And every time they've gotten well over their 40 mile per gallon EPA estimate, this one in particular getting 47 miles per gallon cruising on the highway. That is a fantastic figure and one of the Jetta's biggest pros. My last pro is actually something that some people complain about, but it's these HVAC controls down here. Volkswagen has added a dedicated area for physical controls for the heating and ventilation. And yes, they're not physical buttons, but they're easy enough to use touch-sensitive haptic buttons down here. Sorry, getting distracted by that M2 back there. And it's kind of nice, actually, to be able to quickly adjust fan speed and temperature by scrolling your finger across, or you can tap as though they're physical buttons. And then around the rest of the cabin, we have plenty of other physical hardware. We've got real physical touch buttons on the steering wheel, not the annoying haptic controls on other Volkswagen steering wheels. We've got physical controls for volume, cruise control, blinkers. What a concept, right? So I'm actually pretty happy with the control feature set here in the Jetta. So there's a good amount to like with the Volkswagen Jetta. Despite it being a little bit of an older platform, Volkswagen is still doing a lot right. In fact, this is one of my favorite products from Volkswagen because it's so pure and simple. It doesn't overcomplicate life the way a lot of the newer Volkswagens and more expensive Volkswagens do. That being said, this is a remarkably competitive segment, this compact sedan and hatchback segment. And not only is it competitive, but they're all priced fairly similarly. Therefore, it's a little bit less important to pick with your brain, and it's a little more important to pick with your heart. If you like Toyotas, get the Corolla. It's a perfectly fine little car. If you like Nissans, get the Sentra. It might not be quite as good explicitly as its competition, but I'm sure you can pay a good bit less when you're actually at the dealer signing paperwork. So, hey, go for it. If you like Hondas, get the Honda. If you like Volkswagens, get the Jetta. It's competitive and it's priced accordingly. That being said, there is one particular buyer whom I think fits the Jetta best, and that is if you are somebody who does a lot of steady state, higher speed driving, so whether that be highway or 55 mile an hour roads, just pretty much not stop and go city traffic. If you do a lot of that and you want to save money, so eliminate the SEL and maybe even the SE from your shopping. Just get an S or a Sport. Get the fairly basic setup. Get yourself a nice Bluetooth speaker or some AirPod Maxes to put on your ears, and just get a simple, reliable, remarkably efficient, and comfortable and quiet highway cruiser for $23,000 and be done with it. That is who makes the most sense in the Jetta for me. But before we leave, we've got to put the Jetta on the Daily Motor leaderboard. Our first Volkswagen for 2025, current leaders, Hyundai Santa Fe, Jeep Gladiator, and Nissan Armada. We've got that Mazda 3 in 4th place, and then the Honda Civic in 8th place. So we've tested a few of its competition recently. I'm surprised I put the Mazda 3 so high up there. Oh, it was a manual, hatchback, premium manual. I do like the Jetta, but I don't like it more than the Civic, but I do like it more than the Ram 1500. There's a pretty clear divide right there. So, 9th place so far here in 2025, Volkswagen Jetta SEL. Thank y'all so much for watching. I do like the Jetta. I know it won't be around forever, but for now it's a good car, and I'm just still salty that we can't get the Golf. If you do want to see more on the car, check the link below. We've got the dedicated sound system review. We've got some older footage from testing the manual car. We've got the fuel economy test as well. And we even have an infotainment breakdown on this 8-inch screen. And we'll see you on the next one. I'm Charlie from Daily Motor, and as always, drive on.